Hey, welcome back to the Clear Cryptos channel. My name is Austin Hilton. I'm joined here that way by a buddy of mine, Zach Humphreys. What's going on, man?
What's happening, man?
Uh, well, I think I'm excited about this video. You and I've been
Yeah,
talking about doing this video for a while. So just to give you the viewer, this is an ongoing kind of raging debate that Zach and I have about what are some of the biggest barriers to crypto adoption, and we could probably talk about this for 2 hours. We've narrowed
hmm
it down to three things. So we're going to start off with the first one, Zach. Perception. Okay, so this is one you came up with, which that I like, and you were talking about the perception of crypto, like depending upon where you live. So give our viewers some insight into that.
yeah. I think this is a big one, and we could take this a lot of different directions. And by the way, if we don't say something, guys, drop in the comments what you think. If we forget something or you want to add something on to what we say, but I think you could take this in a lot of different directions. People already have kind of like the negative perception in a lot of places, right? They read the headlines and they read things they're not deep diving into it. They're just seeing the headlines. They're just seeing what's written about it, and a lot of times it's negative things, right? This company did this or this
Yep.
happened yesterday, and they don't really talk a lot about the positive stuff. So you have that negative perception sometimes, right? But then also, just from a standpoint of where you are in the world, a lot of people look at Bitcoin maybe in a developed country as a store of value, where
Right.
others look at it, hey, this is an opportunity to kind of restructure our financial system altogether and transact with it like they're doing in El Salvador and like they're rumored to be doing in other places like Honduras maybe in the future. So,
Yeah. So, but to that point, right? Until you brought, and it was you that brought this point up. I thought it was really a really astute observation. Like how I think of Bitcoin and honestly every crypto, literally like Ethereum and Cardano, put their utility aside. I mean, they all do different things, but I tend to look at them as an investor, right? I tend to look at them as I want to buy it for X, I want to sell it for Y, and I want to make some profit in between.
mhm.
And that was what really grabbed me when you said that. You're like, well, Austin, yeah, that's you, and that's maybe a large percentage of the people in maybe say the United States, as an example. I think that may be kind of a culturally how we look at it. But I think you're right, like El Salvador or some of these developing countries, it's the average person in that country, it's their legal tender. It's what
Mhm.
they can use to buy goods and services. To me, doesn't
Yeah.
even connect that way, you know?
Well, inflation is bad in the US, but it's so much worse in other
Yeah.
places, right? So like even if you kind of you can almost use it as both, right? So like let's say you have because in El Salvador we'll use that as an example. They use US dollar, but they
Right.
also use Bitcoin. So you have the choice. Well, imagine if you instead of saving the dollar, which we know loses value
Yep.
due to inflation, you start saving Bitcoin, and yeah, you transact with it when you have to and when you want to. But then one day you wake up and you're like, oh wow, my Bitcoin account actually went up higher. I can go eat at a nicer restaurant or something like that, right? Or I can buy that nicer pair of shoes now
I
because
just
my Bitcoin went up.
that's man, you're dropping some gold here,
Right?
man. I've never even thought of that. Like literally, like you wake up and you're like, wow, it's up $300. I could go or whatever, right?
Yeah,
That person could go. That's or do some type of a charity thing, I mean, whatever. It's
yeah.
just
I could buy
crazy.
a nicer gift for my sister for her birthday or whatever, right?
Wow.
That's cool.
Well, okay, so we want to keep this kind of short. We got to keep it under 10 minutes. So I think
That
you
was only
covered
number
like
one.
yeah, that's one. Okay, so that's perception. But I think there's also I'm going to hit on this but then move on. There's also perception of age, right? I mean, like you're a millennial. You're right at the end of it. You told me there's 67% of millennials own or involved with crypto, which blew me
hmm
away. I thought it was much lower than that. I'm 53, and I would tell you out of the 30 or 40 people that kind of know that I'm into crypto and that I talk with, there's three of us
Yeah,
out of 30, and I'm one of those. So
yeah.
that's not even well, it's 10%. Don't do math in public. Yeah, there you go, 10%.
hmm
So, but you take me out of the equation, it's less. So I think that's another perception thing, right?
Yeah.
It's also your age. Okay, we got to move on. I think one of the other barriers to massive crypto adoption is education. I think
No
that
doubt.
there is darn near zero education. I can tell you, my son is in the 8th grade, um, and I can tell you this probably pretty confidently: crypto is not discussed in our high school education system. And by the way, we live in a rated district, and it
Yeah.
might be one little subset of economics, but it's definitely not part of the main curriculum, right or wrong. It's not, right?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Well,
Or education.
I know this was supposed to only go 10 minutes, but I'm ready to talk 10 minutes about our financial system or I'm
Oh
sorry,
yeah.
our educational system and the lack
Oh
of
yeah, yeah.
financial
I hit
education.
a nerve. Oh, I forgot, dude.
But
I forgot you.
I'm
Zach was a
a
professor.
former educator, but I
Zach was a
always talked
former
about
educator.
crypto, always talked
Yeah.
about I tried to interject it, even though it was communication classes, had nothing to do with business. But no, you're right, man. I still try to interject.
Dude, I totally
But
forgot. And you're like, oh my
yeah,
God, rip that Band-Aid open.
yeah. No, I mean, they never taught you in school, right? How to balance a
No.
checkbook or things like that.
Okay,
I mean, I guess
but hold on. So back up. Okay, you were so just for educational purposes for our viewers, you
yeah,
were a college professor, right?
yeah,
Working at some of the nice colleges.
yeah.
At the college level, though, was there in the curriculum, was there a crypto class ever offered that you
Never.
saw, period?
Never. But there was a smaller school. So the cool thing about working at a smaller school is I had like a little bit more say so, and I could like pitch ideas and they could actually listen. When you get into like the really big places, same thing in business. People don't listen to your ideas because like it's all hierarchical BS.
Yep.
But I went to my higher up and I said, "Hey, I want to teach this entrepreneurship class." She was like, "Yeah, let's do it." I said, "Well, guess what? I get to build the curriculum. Entrepreneurship class. Guess what they're going to have? Guess what we're going to have to do for a few weeks? We're going to talk about crypto. We're going to talk about financial freedom and how crypto allows for this. And it's everything we're doing here on ClearCryptos, by the way. So I'm happy I'm here.
But you
But
had to go ask for that. That wasn't like
yeah,
part of the main thing.
No. And it was cool because like she allowed me to kind of do it how I wanted. So I built it out that way. And but yeah, they're not teaching a lot about that. But the cool thing is, I think people forget, and I know this is turning into a different video right now. People forget though, like what we're doing right now on YouTube, man, this is free education.
Oh, heck
Like
yeah.
people don't use the internet, I think, to its full capacity. A lot of times we go to the same places. A lot of times it's TikTok or something stupid. And there's a lot of information out here for free, right? I mean, how did you and I find info about crypto? We were genuinely curious and we started to learn about it, right? And so hopefully people are stumbling upon this channel doing the same thing.
Well, that is what Clear's goal is. Us and other creators, we both have our respective own channels, by the way, under my name and under Zach Humphrey's name. So check those out as well. But we both create content for Clear because we believe in the educational vision of what ClearCryptos wants to do. So again, wow, we got through that one pretty. I was like, oh my God,
we
just
brought
stepped
this
on
back home. Actually,
we
somehow
we just stepped on a landmine there. All right. So last third major obstacle. This is one that I think I came up with was what I'm calling ease of use. And this is really more of crypto, again, from a barrier of using it in our mainstream lives. This kind of goes back to that scenario of, I don't think of crypto as a currency.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think we will see the evolution within the next 5 to 10 years of like Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, something or some variation on that theme as a micro payment methodology. But to me, the biggest barrier to that of ease of use is this device right here. Is there's not a simple one wallet or something like Apple Pay or Google, whatever Google's is. I can push a button and I can spend crypto. And I know there are people that have wallets, but it's not mainstream yet. So what are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you. Everything you just said, I agree with you 100%. And I think we're getting there. Like we have some payment processors out there that work in the crypto industry. Like, what's the big one? Is it BitPay? I think BitPay.
Yeah.
And many others. Shopping.io, which is another one, right?
Yeah.
Where you can shop on Amazon using this, but it's clunky. To your point, it's not streamlined yet. People don't know about it yet as much, but we'll get there. And I think that'll come with more adoption, more people wanting to actually spend their crypto, and more people actually, number one, acquiring it and then actually wanting to use it in an everyday sense. I think to your point right now, a lot of people look at it more as an investment or a store of value. They don't, at least in the US.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. But someday I think it'll become more transactional.
Well, and I just thought of the other side of the ease of use is I was only thinking of it from one side, the phone, right? I was thinking of it from my standpoint. But to your point about bringing up the BitPays and the shopping.ios, those are really islands in the financial payment sector. What do I mean by that? I mean, if I walk into my local restaurant in Dallas, Texas, and I want to be able to use crypto to pay, number one, I have to have an easy way on my phone or wallet or whatever. But secondly, that restaurant has to have a way to accept my crypto, which that's not mainstream yet either.
True.
Right. So
True.
you know, and you multiply that times millions of brick and mortar establishments across wherever you happen to live in the world. Oh, by the way, multiply that times the internet and, you know, and all that. So anyway, so there you go. 3 barriers. Well, there are a ton more. We could have just been, we could have spent 30 minutes talking about just education. I had to shut Zach down because he would have just gone and on and on and on. But anyway, you know, so you got any final thoughts?
No, I think this is a good conversation. I think this is important to have these kind of like almost like open forum discussions, because the at the end of the day, we don't know exactly how it's all going to play out. We understand the technology is great. We understand that it has multiple use cases, but it's all going to be driven by humans and how they end up using it over time. And you know, same thing with the internet, right? We knew it was a big thing. We just didn't know exactly how it was going to be used. And
well, I am showing my age. I was there when the internet started. Oh my God, it was. Oh my, you know, when we, you know, back before we were throwing rocks at each other. That's all. I don't know. You know?
Right.
But I was there and I saw the internet start, and I remember I owned a .com in the early days, and I remember calling up vendors because we were in the automotive parts business. I remember calling up vendors going, hey, I own a .com and I want to be able to sell your product. And the first question they asked me was, do you have a brick and mortar, you know, business, like a storefront? I'm like, no. And literally they would hang up on me. And that point was, that was so early in how that model eventually changed.
Right.
You know, and I think that's similar in this capacity. We were at the infancy of crypto, and to see it now, we're going to get to see it, you know, go mainstream and evolve. So with all that said, this is ClearCryptos channel. My name's Austin. Zach here, over there. There he is. Zach. Yeah, right. That's Zach. If you want to get involved with Clear, there's links in the description below. Check them out. Their Discord is amazing. And for all the information coming out around Clear and when they're going to launch and all this kind of stuff, get involved in the Discord. So thanks, Zach, for this interesting dialogue.
Yeah, definitely, man. See ya.